What's up guys, in this video we're going to be going over a new build for Amara that's based all around the lob and the projectile recursion. And as we all know, the recursion's always been super good, but the lob has been recently buffed to just be insane. So these two paired together on a shotgun build with Amara is actually disgusting amount of damage you can do. This build is definitely one of Amara's best builds in the game, hands down. Like, I don't even know what could compete, to be honest. And before we get into the video really quick, just want to say this build is located in my Discord channel. If you want to download it, it's under the builds tab, and you can find a couple other builds there as well. Another thing is, if you enjoy this video, find it helpful anyway, or even download the build, remember, drop a like and be sure to subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out and it really helps the channel out, and I truly appreciate it. But with all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the build, and let's get right into it. So starting off, we're going to be using the lob as our main weapon, and on here I have a corrosive one with on axe and skilling. The next two magazines get an additional bonus cryo damage. This is insane for the takedown, especially for something like Wotan or even the Valkyrie squad. This just absolutely melts their health. Corrosion obviously is very good against armor, then plus cryo damage is also very good against armor. So with those two combined, it is actually nuts. And so the way this is going to work, we're going to keep phase grasping the ground and keep reprocking this anointment over and over again. So we're always going to have this extra cryo damage just all the time. This can take out bosses, single targets. It can mob pretty well as well if you get everything lined up. It is disgusting how much they buffed this. It is crazy. It now shoots out like 3 orbs instead of 1, and they buffed the magazine size by a lot, and also the damage on it is just absurd now. So yeah, the next gun we're going to be using is a projectile recursion right here. I have a corrosive one. It also can do shock, but we're mainly going to be using corrosive on axe gun. The next two bonus zones will have additional corrosive damage. So not only do we have corrosive damage on the recursion already, we're going to have 50% more corrosive damage with our anointment. And like I said before, we're going to keep having this anointment over and over again because we're going to keep phase grasping the ground to not actually phase grasp somebody. Recursion, again, also stupid good for mobbing. Really good for bossing if there's a bunch of little ads around so the thing can ricochet. But your main thing for bossing is going to be the lob. Mainly, you're just going to be using the recursion for mobbing. But on things like the Valkyrie squad, the recursion actually can destroy the Valkyrie squad because there's obviously 3 bosses and it can go in between each and every single one of them. But if that's not working out for you, the lob is also there. Next, we have a conference call right here. This is actually insanely good. I have a very bad anoint on it where I get 75% bonus radiation damage, which is actually 40%. I don't know why this is 75%, but it's actually 40%. This is really good for things like Grave Ward. If you just want to do a little Grave Ward farm, this is going to be insanely good. If you want to use something like the lob, you're gonna have to run off the map and die. But if you don't want to like respawn and lose a lot of money, conference call is there for you. It can straight up melt Grave Ward, and it is a very, very, very good gun. Now, our final weapon, I just have a shock lob with an axe gun, projectile speed increased by 100%. This is really good for taking out shields, especially on things like the Wotan fight. And if you're on true takedown mode, this is going to take out the shield in one shot, honestly. Maybe sometimes two, depending on how everything else in your build's going on. So this anoint actually is super good, especially on like the second phase of Wotan where you have to go up the little belt thing and then have to shoot the lob on them. This is actually going to make that projectile speed increase and get to the shields faster. So this is mainly just for taking out shields for bosses that have huge shields, whatever. And the projectile speed increase actually is very good because you don't really need more damage for it. So the speed to get there is very nice. So next, I have a transformer with an axe skilling. I get 50% bonus cryo damage. This is a super good anoint for things like the takedown. Also, the transformer shield is insanely good for survivability. As you see, this has like 15,000 shield capacity, plus 40% of the bullets that hit you actually have a chance to absorb to you and they won't do damage to your shield. And on top of that, you have 100% shock resistance, which also actually is going to heal the shield if you take shock damage, which is actually nuts. So the transformer is a super tanky shield. It can give you ammo back because you're going to be using 4 shotguns, so you're going to need a lot of ammo. It doesn't actually consume as much as you think it will, but the transformer definitely helps with keeping your ammo up. And then third, it's a super tanky shield, one of the best shields in the game for survivability. So that is why I'm using that. So next, I have a hex grenade right here. I don't ever really throw this, just every now and then I might do it, but the main thing on axe skilling, I get 50% bonus corrosive damage. This is insanely good for things like the takedown, obviously. because we're going to be fighting a lot of armored targets. So cryo and corrosive compared together is just going to melt them. So not only are we going to getting bonus cryo damage right here plus corrosive damage, when we phase grass the ground, we're also getting these, which is more cryo and corrosive damage, and you can just destroy Wotan or the Valkyrie squad or just any corrosive target. Like, it's actually crazy how good this is. Now, as you see, I have other shields right here. These just have all the action skill and annoyance on them, same as the grenades. If you need to switch it up, like if you're going against Grave Ward, if you want to use centering radiation, there you go, you have that, or just anything you want. Next, I have a spiritual driver right here. This is bread and butter of this build. So the way spiritual drive works, you use your axe skill, whatever axe skill element you're using is going to apply to yourself, and then also the more you move, the more damage you do. So that's going to pair really well when we get into the skills. But we have 25% bonus weapon damage, 31% axe cooldown rate, and 31% shotgun damage. The axe cooldown rate is literally worthless for this build because we're just going to be phase grasping the ground over and over again, so that does nothing for us. But the weapon damage and shotgun damage definitely does do something for us, obviously. You don't need to have this good of a class mod for this to work. This is just a cherry on top of what already is an insanely good build. The next, I have a elemental projector auto idol. This is actually level 53 version, so we're getting 96% more damage when we have an element on us, which is going to be tied to our action skill. This is also going to let us easily apply it to us using the spiritual driver, and you won't have to carry an elemental projector around just to get this to work for you. Now the auto idol part also is going to give you 19% more health every time you kill an enemy, which is very good for survivability. This build for survivability is also just insanely good, and you'll see why when we get later into the skills. Now this does give me 30% area of effect damage, 33% shield recharge rate, and 29% electrocute chance. So take that at what you will, but this altogether is insanely good. Like, it is, you'll never have to switch off anything. It is that good. Now I do have a lob right here that's cryo, and it'll actually only get 50% bonus corrosive damage if you want to play around with that. I would say the other one's a little better in most scenarios, especially in things like the takedown, but if you want to mess around with that, I have that there for you. Then I also have a execute right here to just apply debuffs to enemies. So the way it works, you shoot the whole clip, and then you reload the gun, the reload will hit an enemy, and then boom, you do 50% more damage to that enemy. It's very good for boss fights, and it's easy to use on like every enemy in the game. So next, I'm just going to scroll through the skill trees really quick. I know some people just like to look at the skills and try to figure stuff out for themselves, but I will have in depth and go and talk about why I use these skills when the gameplay pops up. And I'm going to start that right now. Alright, so we're going to be starting the Brawl skill tree. We're taking 5 points of Root to Rise to give 40% more max health. This is really good for survivability. This is also compared with our auto idol. This is going to give us a lot of health, and we can keep restoring our health a lot. Next, I'm putting 3 points of personal space to get 36% more damage the closer we are to an enemy. Since we're using a shotgun build, we're always going to be insanely close, and this is just giving us more damage. It's really, really good, and it's only 3 points, so this is a no-brainer to take. Next, I'm putting 5 points in Helping Hands, which is getting buffed to 7 with our class mod, and this is going to give us 48% damage reduction every time we use our action skill. This actually does work when we phase grass the ground, so this is going to be just always 48% damage reduction, which is very, very good. Now, as you see, we're going to use the corrosive action skill element. The reason I'm not going to be using shock to the transformer is simply because of damage. You don't really need the shock to heal your transformer shield because of all the other healing you're going to have with the build and survivability. So I'm taking corrosive just to buff the lob's corrosive damage and the recursion's corrosive damage. Next, I'm putting 3 points of mindfulness, which is getting buffed to 6 with our class mod. So the mindfulness works. The more you take damage, you get a stack, and these stacks go to 25 times, and each stack give you 6% more movement speed and 15% shield regeneration delay. The movement speed is the main thing we're focusing on. With 25 stacks and 6% movement speed, we're getting an insane amount of movement speed. And if you remember with the class mod is going to buff our damage the faster we move, and plus the class mod is also going to be applying our action skill element to yourself when we use our action skill. Like I said, that's going to be corrosive, so we're getting 96% more corrosive damage, and then we're moving to get even more damage. It's actually insane how everything synergizes, and you just do loads of damage. Next, I'm putting 5 points in One with Nature to get 25% more max health, which is very good. Then we're getting 40% elemental damage reduction, so now we're taking 40% less damage from corrosive. So the corrosive dot on us actually is going to be hurting us that much. And if you remember, the transformer shield is actually giving us 100% shock resistance, so now we're completely resistant to shock, and we're almost halfway resistant to corrosion. This is a very good skill to have, especially if you're not using shock action skill element. Now with this build, you can obviously change whatever action element you want. Like if you're going against Ray War, you probably want to change the solar to get solar damage, and if you want to go in and get the shock, you can if you want to heal your transformer shield. This build is very flexible with whatever you want to do. Next, I'm putting 1 point Guardian Angel, just in case we die, we can get up. With the lob, you can actually kill yourself with it. So if you're in a scenario, which has happened to me a couple times, you kill everything, but then like a lob projectile hits you. It does so much damage, and most of the time, it mostly just one-shot you. So this can just get you right back up. It's a very nice insurance skill to have, and it only costs 1 point. So why would you not take it? Next, I'm just gonna do Mystical Assault. I only have 3 points in fast hands, so this is gonna give us 19% more reload speed, 36% more weapon slot speed, and 36% motor speed. All these are really good. The reload speed is insanely good to obviously just reload your guns faster. The weapon slot speed is really good if you switch between shock and corrosive, especially in things like the takedown. And then the motor speed is really good for things like the recursion if you need to swap between shock and corrosion. It's really good. This is a very good skill to have, and it's only 3 points. It's a no-brainer to take, especially with the level 53 update, and we get 3 extra skill points. This is definitely where they should go. Now the next skill tree, this is going to be all around more damage, and this is the Fist of Elements skill tree. So we're putting 5 points in Anima to make our status effects do more damage and last longer. This is going to be very good for our corrosion dot. It's going to last longer on us, plus we're doing even more corrosion damage. And the lob already has an insane amount of dot damage on it at like 7,000, I'm pretty sure. So this is doubling that, and the dot also is going to do a ton of damage. Next, I'm putting 3 points steady hands, get 32% more accuracy, 31% more handling speed. This is very good in general, but it's very good on things like shotguns because you're going to be running up close to people. Then next, I'm putting 5 points in Tempest to get 30% more elemental damage and 20% more shock damage. 30% elemental damage is buffing all our elements. You just do an insane amount of damage to this, plus a 20% shock damage is actually going to be buffing our lob. The shock is going to take down shields a lot quicker. Next, I'm putting 3 points on Wildfires to get down to the bottom. Really no point in using this, but it's there if it ever wants to work. Then next, I'm putting 1 point Deep Well to get 20% more magazine size for all elemental weapons. All our weapons are elemental except the conference call, so this 1 skill point is actually helping our guns out a ton. Then I'm putting 3 points in Indiscriminate to get our bullets to ricochet. This is going to help out a lot with things like the recursion. It is going to let the recursion ricochet a stupid amount, and every now and then it just makes your game lag with how much ricocheting is going on. It's crazy, and it's very, very good for ad clear. Next, I'm putting 5 points to Sustainment, which is going to let us heal 20% of our damage dealt with elemental weapons. It is crazy, especially with things like the lob. You shoot 1 lob on somebody and you're at max health. Sustainment paired with the auto idol, which is also healing us every time we kill an enemy. So basically, we're shooting an enemy getting healed, the enemy dies, we're getting healed, and plus with Root Taraz and One with Nature, we have a lot more health. We're always going to be healing our health bar, which is crazy. The Transformer is already a super good shield with 15,000 capacity, so this build is super tanky, and it's actually gross at how effective it is. Finally, I'm putting 1 point in Forceful Expression to just get 18% bonus elemental damage, and our bonus elemental damage is going to be whatever action skill element we take, but for the main part, it will be corrosion, since we're going to be focusing on the takedown. This is also getting thrown into the pool of all our buffs, so we're just adding 18% more damage, which is getting buffed by everything, you know, such as our elemental projector, Tempest, Anima, spiritual driver, everything. Like, it's crazy how everything synergizes with this build. So with that being said, I'm just generally going to go over the build really quick. So this build is absolutely insane. The lob has gone from being the worst weapon in the game to literally being the best weapon in the game, and it's actually nuts. So with this build, you're going to have a ton of ad clear, you're going to have a ton of boss damage, and it's a run and gun build, so it's super fun to play. You move very fast, and you just get up close to enemies, and you just destroy them. The way you want to play it is you want to phase grass the ground. This is in turn going to apply the dot to yourself, which is going to activate our elemental projector, which is giving us 96% more corrosive damage. Since we also use our action skill, we're also getting 50% bonus corrosion damage and cryo damage from our shield and grenade. On top of that, our lob is also going to be getting bonus cryo damage since we pop our action skill, or corrosive damage if you're talking about the recursion. So we're getting 3 extra 50% damages plus the 96% extra damage to elemental projector, and all that stacked together is just going to let us do the same amount of damage. Now if we talk about survivability now, every time we pop our action skill, Helping Hands is proccing, which is insanely good. We're going to have mindfulness working, which is going to give us a ton of movement speed, which is going to let us survive stuff a lot, plus do a lot more damage. Then if we ever do manage to go down, we have Guardian Angel just to res us really quick, and we don't have to worry about getting a kill. Then on top of that, generally just playing this build is super fun because we got things like steady hands and fast hands to make the gameplay a lot more fluid, and things like Deep Well as well, just to give us more magazine size so we don't have to worry about reloading as much. So overall, this build is actually crazy good. It is definitely Amara's best build in the game right now, by far. I don't know if they're going to nerf the lob or anything, but if they do, this build will still be very good, even if you just replace the lob with something else and use the recursion, because the recursion is still a super good weapon. But anyway, that's going to do it for the build, guys. As I said before, this build is located in my Discord channel. If you would like to download it, it is located under the builds tab, and the link for that will be in the description. So if you guys enjoyed the video, download the build, or learn anything, remember, as always, drop a like, be sure to subscribe to the channel. It really helps the channel out. I can't stress that enough, and I really appreciate it. YouTube tells me that most people that watch my videos actually are not subscribed to me. If you would like to help me change that stat, I would truly appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love each and every single one of you, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.